And with that, I'm going to introduce James Sturm. He is a co-founder of the Center for Cartoon Studies. He has a very rich history and a lot of influence in the field of independent comics in general. He worked on Raw, which is a famous anthology. He worked on The Stranger in Seattle and has published numerous graphic novels, including Gollum's Mighty Swing. And he's going to speak now about his work at the Center for Cartoon Studies.
Great, thank you. Hello, everybody. What a day. What a conference. Thank you, Lydia, for all the work you've done. She already leaves. She's probably napping already. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody. Oh, there you are, right in front of me. Hello. Yeah, it's been really inspiring, but the talk right before this was how tired everybody was. So I will try not to go the full hour and move it and keep it brisk. But anyway, so let me find. Oh, I had notes here somewhere. Could you have taken my notes, Lydia? Oh, great. Yeah, there. I thought she was doing a really good job organizing this conference, and clearly, yeah, the degree of difficulty would have gone way up without these things. Okay, so anyway, for those not familiar with the Center for Cartoon Studies, we opened our doors in the fall of 2005, and CCS is an MFA degree-granting institution that resides in a small village of White River Junction, Vermont, which was once a New England Railroad hub. And between the railroad era ending and White River Junction being on the New Hampshire border, and New Hampshire has no sales tax, White River Junction's downtown suffered. So when area suffers, boy, there's an opportunity for artists, right? Cheap rent. And CCS was able to move into some of the underutilized infrastructure. This was a building, the old Kolodny Surprise Department Store, as depicted by the cartoonist Laura Park. And we were able to rent this for like, I don't know, $50 a month or something like that for 10 years. And our lease just came up, so we don't have quite the same deal we once did, but it's still pretty good. And we were able to fix up this wonderful building. It was owned by the Vermont State Housing Authority. And I love the name, this Kolodny Surprise Department Store, because you'll never know what you'll find there. This panel by the cartoonist Seth speaks for itself. Here we are in the lower level of the Kolodny Surprise Department Store, the CCS's flagship building. And in the lab, during the semester, students have 24-hour access, and any time of day you can find people there making comics. Each week, visiting artists come to town to give talks and workshops, and a lot of times more informal exchanges take place, like this one. I think that is Linda Barry. Oh, I was mentioning Annie Murphy to somebody earlier today. There she is as a student, as Linda wields her magic brush. Out of the production lab flows hundreds of mini comics each year by the students, as well as much of CCS's promotional material, which I actually refer to as propaganda for the school. CC also has an archive of original art that is exhibited in White River Junction and college campuses and museums throughout the country. CCS's students are talented auteurs. It's a grad level program, so most of the students range in age for, maybe the average age is 25, 26. So students coming to CCS aren't kind of taking how to get your head out of your ass 101, like they know how to pay an electric bill and eat something better than a Pop-Tart, right? But anyway, we're very proud of the level, the quality of the students that are coming out, and we're really seeing them leaving their mark in the world. About 2 years ago, CCS bought its first building. This amazing old post office. It was a WPA project, and it was in a little bit of disrepair. And next fall, we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary. And this was able to happen because of all the support the school has had from the local community. We're 5 minutes away from Dartmouth, who has donated furniture and collaborates on programming. And in the Upper Valley, the region we are, White River Junction was always this kind of like, you can still buy crack down the street of South Main Street. It was kind of like the soft center. And people are very excited that the school has come there and helped turn the downtown, and there's more cafes and restaurants there now as a result. So the local community has really gotten behind the school, and they donate books and money and artwork. Cartoonists as well have donated their time and artwork, and they've come to the school to lecture. And the state of Vermont, who helped renovate the Kolodny building. So as CCS transitioned from this like little spunky startup to a more stable and viable enterprise, we wanted to figure out how we could give back to the community. We weren't this little infant anymore that needed everybody's help. Now we felt like, okay, it's time that we should give back, more than just this focus of the grad curriculum that we have. And the one question, the one easy thing of where the community wanted something was the question I got more from the community than anywhere else is when are you going to do something for kids? And for 8 years it's like, well, we don't do things for kids, and but I was like, all right, we're going to start doing. So we started this Saturday morning cartoon club, and a lot of our students and faculty come in and work with students, and it's really inspiring. I wish we had done it much earlier, because grad students, it can be a sludge when you do something you love and you start taking it really seriously, right? And then then the kids come in and they're just, woo, robots, ninjas, and everybody's like having a great time. So I think it's energized everybody. So that was easy, right? But I thought we could try to do more. And 1 mile up the street from CCS is the White River Junction VA. And the plight of the veteran has been in the news a lot, and the VA seemed like a good place to try to expand CCS's community outreach. Now, since I moved to Vermont in 2001, I've driven by here on Route 5 this sign in the driveway up to the VA, literally 1,000 times, but I never stepped foot on the grounds. As a creator whose graphic novels explore questions about how it means to be an American, what it means to be an American, I really wanted to have a reason to go in and kind of hear some of the stories and kind of learn about what was happening behind this gate here. And comics, as it's been much of my life, is this kind of like passport for different adventures and travel and endeavors. Now, my mom was always concerned when I was reading comics as a kid. Like, I remember her saying, like, "Oh, comics is James's only frame of reference." It's like, and she just thought I was too maniacally focused on it. Well, all right. So here's a comic. All right, Ma, for you. This is a comic I read as a kid, and there was this thing in the comics I read as a kid. I got it. It's my frame of reference. I gotta tell you, it's there was this thing called CounterEarth, and there's somebody in here who knows who that character is, right? The High Evolutionary. Thank you. All right. I'm going to put this back in order. Or I'm going to be in real trouble. Real trouble. Okay, here we go. Thanks, Lydia. All right, so CounterEarth is another Earth identical to our own and in an orbit on the other side of the sun, so that the two Earths are unaware of each other's existence. And I kind of felt like the world of the cartoon school and the world of the VA were completely hidden from one another. And if these worlds could connect, maybe the fabric of the universe, or at least my local community, would be stitched a little stronger. So I got into my sights to approach the VA somehow, and I started reading about issues vets were facing and jotting down some notes. And some of the things that, and here's what the VA looks like up the street. And I got injured making that photo. There's no good photos of this. I know I got injured making a PowerPoint. I was trying to get a good shot, and I'm like with my iPhone, I walked into a parking sign, and I got up until 2 days ago, I had this gash on my face. Anyway. So, I started taking notes of some of the issues that vets were facing. Self-worth roller coaster rides, acutely painful, being acutely painful and sensitive, severe bouts of anger, frustration, depression, overreacting to environment, marginalized, not understood, expending constant energy just to keep your shit together. How the effort of keeping your shit together can lead to isolation and relationship challenges. And I'm reading it and I'm like, wow, these sound familiar. This is basically what I describe as artistic temperament. And one thing about CounterEarth and Earth was there were versions of each other. Every person had a version of themselves in CounterEarth, but they were like slightly tweaked. And there's Reed Richards of CounterEarth. Anyway, and I know, I guess I should, as I'm like writing this, it sounds so, it's a little, I know that comparing the fallout from like risking your life day to day on foreign soil to the ups and downs of artists risk trivializing vets' experience. That said, even if the comparisons are a bit of a stretch, it's my way in, if that makes sense. And maybe if I can figure out how comics act as therapy for me, I can better figure out what I have to offer vets. Anyway, that's that's my. All right. So I have a hard time compartmentalizing my life. All right. Work spills into family, private into public. Like when one area goes bad, it kind of pollutes all areas. I have like a nickname in my family called the Black Mood, and my superpowers, I can like get into a black mood and just infect everybody around me. And I find breaking things down into manageable chunks, also known as panels, and arranging these panels into a coherent narrative. This is what has kept me sane over the years. And it's the process of making the work that's provided the tool for keeping my act together. And one of my favorite parts of drawing a comic is actually laying out these panels on a blank page. And when I usually I'm working from a thumbnail when I'm doing a graphic novel, but I always like rule and letter all of my panels on a page and just look at that and all those empty panels, and it's like the most calming, therapeutic part of the process for me. The other part that's very therapeutic is just having a goal. And I thought I'd sneak some of my work in here. Filling in panels and working on longer pieces, and then seeing the day-to-day work build, panel by panel, into the completed work. It's a feeling like nothing else. And making a comic is often a struggle, but seeing something created from that struggle is what I find most satisfying. But often, the focus, I feel like the graphic novel is like somebody in one of the panels I was asked, there was a great question about the different formats from a political cartoon to a comic book to a graphic novel. And it's almost like the difference between like a haiku and a short story and a novel. And I feel like graphic novels are like the marathon of cartooning, and there's sprint events and whatnot. And a lot of times I don't have that focus to really be, to like live in that long-term piece. And I find that it's my sketchbook that keeps me kind of the water moving through my creative pipes. And this is a sketchbook I actually just took out my phone and took a picture of that I just finished the day before I came here. And it's just a few panels a day that I might do, but it's enough to give me that feeling of accomplishment, that I've done something, that I've done like a little bit of processing, maybe not to the full extent or the issues that I take on in my longer work, but it gives me it allows me to process a little bit. And sometimes these sketchbook doodles beg questions, like who is this person? Where are they going? Why? And I'm often jazzed by even like the simplest of doodles I'll do on the back of a menu. And it's really the most basic little nothing of a drawing, but it's my drawing, right? And I'll project something on it, and I gave it life. And giving something life is a really powerful feeling, right? And I need that feeling like every day, or I feel like shit. So I'm a manic doodler. Like I have faculty meetings, and like I'm running the faculty meetings, and I'm doodling during the faculty meeting. So that's how we roll there in White River Junction.